Oh, did you hear about the companies? I think a ton of them are doing it. They're getting paid furlough, but they're still making the people work. So you'll be doing the work, and the company's getting paid furlough for you, which means they're getting free work out of you. You heard about it?
No, I heard about it.
Yeah, people's been reporting their employers, but I think a ton of them is doing it. I think my employer's doing it.
The furlough shit. My place, they're only getting like 300 a week, and I think they want to come back, but you can't come back till the virus things over. You can't stop when it come back.
Because at first everyone was going off sick. Because they say, oh, you know what, I get time off and I get paid.
When you see the money, you're like,
They've extended it to October. They extended that to October. They was going to drop it to 60%, which is dumb, but they said they're going to leave it at 80.
Yeah, because I read that. But Bryce, you at 60%, imagine like 240.
I mean,
the furlough cost England $8 billion. So they're broke.
Oh, now they're saying after June? After June, with furlough, they want help from the employers. So your company's gonna have to put up half, but you know the company ain't gonna do that. They're just gonna get rid of you. Yeah, they're just gonna get rid of you if anything.
Yeah, because one guy at my place can't stand his freaking reason. You know what I mean? He heard about the furlough. And he's like, yeah, you know, I'm not really thinking about get the furlough. When he knows how much he's getting paid out, he needs to come back with like, they can't. You know, we remember that? Because there was a lie going on. You know what I mean? There was a lie going on that those on furlough getting paid like 500 a week.
No way.
Which was a lie. And he believed it. And he pretended to be sick to not get that.
Yeah, real life, yeah. All right, this is the I.S.U.P.K Wednesday law class. So today we're going to go into Boris Johnson and our kingdom and so forth, and the reason why Black people and Hispanics and Native Americans ain't supposed to be upset about what they see taking place right now.
That's right.
The things that we see going on right now in the world is So the things that we see going on in the world right now, we've been praying for these things to happen. Like we've been praying for these things to happen. And also another thing, this ain't our kingdom. So obviously, what do we care if this place goes into recession? If all the companies go bust, if Debenhams closes down, if Primark closes down, none of that stuff really affects us because this ain't our kingdom. Now it might affect you if you work there personally, but as on a national level, like as us as a nation, it's not our business what's going on with this place, man. You see all of this lockdown and all of these things, and this country basically being brought down to nothing. This ain't our problem, man. It ain't gonna affect us. You know why? Because we've been treated as nothing in this kingdom. So it's only right and in order for us to get our kingdom. This place has to go down.
That's right.
Like the Bible says, listen, there ain't gonna be no two kingdoms set up at the same time, man. There ain't gonna be no two nations ruling the earth at the same time, man. One nation takes rule over the whole earth at a time. That's how it goes, man. When it's time for us to rule, we ain't gonna have no them Arabs is ruling over there, Esau's ruling over there. The Chinese still got their empire. Nah, man, there's gonna be none of that, man. We're gonna rule the whole earth. We're gonna decide what goes and what doesn't go, man. And I can reassure you, the way that we're gonna rule, the way that we're gonna rule is not like how Boris Johnson's running the UK, man. Boris Johnson can't even give you a straight answer. Boris Johnson saying, oh yeah, you can go outside, then stay inside. You can go to work, then work from home, then drive to work, then take public transport, then cycle, then walk to work. Listen, man, Boris Johnson said a million different things, man. Like which one do we do? Do we stay indoors or do we not stay indoors? Then he said, oh, you can go outside for unlimited exercise, but you're still getting a fine for being outside. Can I have unlimited exercise or am I going to get a fine? Boris needs to make his mind up, man. Is it unlimited exercise or am I going to get a fine? Then he says you can't meet people. Oh, you can meet one person outside of your house. Then he says you can be You can sunbathe in the park with people from the same house as you. Like whatever Boris Johnson said that day, it didn't make no sense. No one understands the thing. Go ahead.
And so if I can just I didn't know that. What's funny is on the radio, they said it so it wasn't just how we felt individually. All of England felt the same way. That I don't understand this announcement at all.
Listen, everyone was confused. Everyone was asking, all right, so do we go outside? Do we stay inside? And this is the thing, man. That right there should have let you know that Boris Johnson ain't fit to lead anybody, man.
That's right.
Boris Johnson, listen, we're in the middle of a pandemic and Boris Johnson can't even get his words straight. Boris Johnson can't even tell you what you can and can't do. He ain't got no clue whatsoever, man. And that's the man that we must listen to. Nah, man. And this is why it's very important that every Black and Hispanic just gets in the I.S.U.P.K, man, where your leaders know what they're talking about, where your leaders know what they're saying and they make themselves clear, where whatever they say, you don't get confused, man. You understand what they're saying. We don't understand what Boris Johnson's talking about. Boris Johnson's telling us one thing. Boris Johnson's telling us the other thing. Then he's saying he's gonna no, what did Boris Johnson say? Boris Johnson said what did he say now? Oh yeah, he said you can't meet your family members. You can't meet your family members, but then he wants to send nurseries kids back to school the 1st of June. It doesn't make no sense, man. So if we still have to be social distancing, why are you sending people back to school where they're not going to be social distancing? He's talking about, oh, you just put a divider in the middle of the classroom. Talking about, oh, just 15 kids to a class. That doesn't make no sense what Boris is saying, man. It's the dumbest thing ever. We're meant to be social distancing. We're meant to be in lockdown. 1 minute he wants us to stay in the house, but then he wants our kids to go back to school. Then he wants what? Everybody to return to work, saying, oh, the economy is suffering, which means what? Their economy means more to them than the people of this country, man. They would rather you die from coronavirus because what? They want to save Debenhams. They would rather you die from coronavirus because what? They want to strengthen the British pound. So they would rather you die from coronavirus. And then they had the cheek to say, if you work for the NHS and you die from coronavirus, your loved ones get £60,000. What is 60 grand, man? 60 grand ain't nothing, man. 60 grand is what? Like 2 years wage. Let's say 3 years wage. Let's say you're on 20K a year. 60 grand is 3 years wage. So your family members gonna get 60 grand, and after 3 years, they still ain't gonna see you, man. You're still gonna be dead, man. So if you work for the NHS, they're saying if you die doing your job, you get 60 grand. And to Black people, 60 grand is a lot of money, man. 60 grand, that could pay off the rest of the mortgage, buy you a Mercedes. That's the most it could do, man. But that's how little they value a life at 60 grand. A life that, listen, there's cars that cost more than your life, man. There's houses that cost more than your life. He said 60 grand. 60 grand ain't nothing, man. And this is why we need to what? Separate from this place, man. That's right. We need to let this place go downhill like it's been going. We need to not cry. We need to not do nothing, man. We need to just sit back and enjoy the ride, man. We need to serve God. That's what we need to do. I mean, did you think these things wasn't going to happen? I mean, a country built on the death of God's people. Countries built on the back of slaves. Did you not think some bad was going to happen to this earth? Did you not think these things wasn't coming? We've been telling you that these things is coming forever, man. We've been telling you that these things is coming, and this right here is just the beginning. This is barely the start of it, man. There's going to be payback for what? Every Black and Hispanic person's blood shed, man. There's going to be payback for that, man. Our blood has been shed in this place, man. Police killing us. People who ain't police killing us. Like people taking the law into their own hands, killing us, doing whatever they wish with us, man. And it ain't right, but they get away with it. That's right. Also today, it came out in the news, man. There was some security guard that did what? Some white security guard. He paid a 13-year-old girl for sex. He only got what? 4 years. Now, straight away, before seeing this picture, I said, he only got 4 years. That has to be a white man. And guess what? It turned out to be right, man. Which lets you know the justice system in this place ain't even fair. So why should we give a damn about this place and the justice system ain't even fair, man? That's right. I mean, a black man can't get no justice, and now they want to give. Now they wanted to deport what the rest of the Windrush generation, but because of coronavirus, they know they need them to work in them nursing homes. Because we work in them nursing homes, man. You look in them nursing homes, who works there? Mainly us. You look in them hospitals, who works there? Mainly us. So now, I guarantee you what they're going to do is, if someone that was meant to be deported dies from coronavirus, I bet you they don't get that 60,000, man. Afterwards, they're going to say, oh, no, that was probably just for British nationals. That's probably what they're going to say, man. Which should make you think it's not even fair. The way this place is set up ain't even fair, man. I mean, people talk about us all day and say, oh, you should let everyone join. You don't let everyone join. You only deal with your own kind. Listen, man, this country only deals with its own kind, whereas everybody else is what? Slaves to the people that rule this country, man. Everybody else in this country is slaves to the people that rule this country. Just look at the difference in jobs, the difference in wages, the difference in everything. But with the, I'm gonna go to Job 9, verse 24. Is got the link?
Yeah, that link.
Okay. So yeah, it's one of those, man, where the way this place is run ain't even fair. So why should we cry and want this place to stay, man? Nah, man, we shouldn't want it to stay. Because guess what? We've got something coming which is way better than this.
That's right.
And guess what? There won't be no Boris Johnson giving you weird instructions. There won't be none of these 600 MPs giving you weird instructions. What's his name? Matt Hancock. Is that his name, Matt Hancock? What's he like? The medical one? Yeah. There won't be no Matt Hancock. There won't be no Piers Morgan. There won't be no Philip Schofield. We won't have to turn on the TV and see Philip Schofield, man. We won't have to turn on the TV and see Matt Hancock, man, and Boris Johnson. The day's coming where we ain't gonna have to turn on our TV and see that. Go ahead.
Job 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
So the earth's given into the hand of the wicked, which means obviously the wicked run this earth. Everybody already knows who the wicked on the earth is. Just look at how it's run. The same people who don't want to give you justice. Meanwhile, what? We die and we go to them for justice and still don't get justice. So bad that what? We have to set up Black Lives Matter marches. And then what do they come with? All lives matter. When they basically say, no, shut up, your life ain't no better than anybody else's. When really, we're the only ones dying, man. So we have to set up what? These marches, these Black Lives Matters. We have to set up these groups that we like to do. Then we try and hold these meetings, these anti-knife crime meetings. Listen, man, nobody cared about knife crime when it was just black people. But now that everybody else is getting involved in knife crime, now they want to set things up now. Now they want to put bleed kits in the shops now. You seen them bleed kits? Yeah. Now they want to put bleed kits in the shops now. When it was just us bleeding, nobody wanted to put these things in place, man. It was just, oh, wow, he lived his life that way. It was obviously was going to die. That's all they say about us. He lived his life that way. It was obviously was going to die. That's all they say, man. But now that all these other races is getting involved in knife crime, now it's a big phenomenon. Now it's on TV now. Now it makes the news. Now they want to do all these stop and searches. Now they want to put these knife arches at the clubs. Meanwhile, when it was our clubs, they didn't have no knife arches there, man. They didn't give a damn about knife crime and knife arches. But only now they do. Why? Because everybody's suffering from knife crime. First, it started off with us. No one really cared. Read on.
Into the hand of the wicked, he covereth the faces of the judges.
And he covers the faces of the judges thereof, man. Meaning what? This man covers up the face of us, the Israelites. We meant to be the judges now. Who's your judges now? These people that don't know nothing about justice, man. These people that don't know nothing about giving people a fair trial.
That's right.
I mean, when's the last time a black man's had a fair trial? I don't think a fair trial exists for a black man. Honestly, I'm not sure there's a such thing as a fair trial. And the proof is in the pudding. Listen, you can do the research. You can look it up. All you have to Google is ethnic minorities prison sentence compared to European prison sentence. That's all you have to type in, man. Do that, and then you'll find out that there's no fair trial for a black man. Ain't no fair trial for a black man there. You can drop that. Give me Exodus chapter 5 and verse 1. There's no fair trial for a black man in this place. So when you see coronavirus, we should sit back, man, and be like, the Lord's getting them for something. You mean to tell me all our ancestors who worked over here with no... Listen, now they're complaining about face masks. Listen, man, our grandparents was working in them coal mines without face masks hundreds of years ago, man. When our ancestors first came over here, guess what? They was over here with no face masks. They was over here without no protective gear. And then years down the line, they started dying from what? Asbestos, man. They started dying from asbestos and so forth, and other related diseases. But no one cared. Why? Because these people's just slaves from the Caribbean. These people's just slaves that was meant to build up the train tracks. These people's just slaves that was meant to work in the warehouse. That's all these people was to them. So when we was dying on the large scale, no one cared. But now that everybody's dying from coronavirus, now they're talking about, face masks and protective gear. Really, you know, if there was only 2 ventilators left, and there was a black man and a white man, you know that black man ain't getting the ventilator, man. Let's not lie about it, man.
That's right. Let's
not lie about it. If there's only 2 ventilators left, even if you didn't know nothing about their background, straight away you're gonna look and be like, wow, this black man looks like he don't contribute to society. You're gonna, why give him a ventilator? Even though you could have the most education in the world. That's what it's like in the interview, man. When you go to an interview and you're up against some Edomite, they look at you and him, and really they want to tell him already he's got the job. Even though you might have the qualifications, they don't want to give you the job. Go ahead.
Also, just on the back of that, there's been experiments where in an interview they've done a white person and a black person, and they've purposely got someone who's black and is actually more qualified for the job, and still they gave the white person. So it's an experiment that has been done many times.
And you can look that up also, man. They do all these experiments. They've done the next one with a black sounding name and a white sounding name, and both of them were saying the exact same words, and then everybody that read the black sounding name one said, oh, this guy sounds aggressive, this guy sounds larger, this guy sounds like a criminal. That's what they said. You can read it. Meanwhile, these two were saying the exact same words. So when they see you straight away, they see you as aggressive, a criminal, violent. That's what they see you as. Even though you ain't raised the finger, man. Even though you ain't done nothing wrong, they just see you as that. Go ahead.
Exodus 5:1. And afterwards, Moses and Aaron went in and told the Aaron, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, let my people go.
Listen, man, the Lord said to Moses went and said, the Lord said, let my people go to Pharaoh. Now, we've been trying to go for a long time, man. Listen, even every time when you're trying to go to Passover or you want time off work, you have to ask your boss and he don't want to give you. You ask your boss and he don't want to give you, man. You ask him, oh, can I have this time off? He's telling you, no, man. We have to go to when it's time for the Passover, we have to do what? You have to submit a holiday form and you have to wait anxiously. You have to wait anxiously, man. Meaning what? You're waiting anxiously for this man to say, yeah, you're allowed to go and fly. Listen, man, the same thing was going on in Egypt. We should let you know that we are slaves right now, man. Why in the hell do we have to go to anyone and say, listen, I need a week off? And it's telling you, no, you can't have it off yet. You mean to tell me you're a grown... Imagine this, you're a grown man with kids of your own and your boss is shouting at you at work like you're a little boy, man.
That's right.
Now do you see why sometimes black people have to flip out at work? This is what I go ahead.
And what's funny is, like, as a black man, you have to flip out at work. if you're way too nice, then the thing is stop,
exactly.
And you get extra work. And when you flip out to not get extra work, you're aggressive.
Exactly.
We can't work with you.
Exactly. And then the manager plays that scared card. Oh, I was afraid. I thought it was going to hit me. Listen, man, I had one manager, I'm a slave, man, saying, oh, he was aggressive. I thought it was going to hit me. Guess what? They checked the camera footage, man, and they didn't see me raise a finger, man. They didn't see me raise a finger. I said, after that, I said, you know what? I said, I want to complain because he told a lie on me, man. I said, what if there wasn't cameras, man? Listen, man, hundreds of years ago, black people would get lynched for these things. Black people get killed for these things. People saying that you was aggressive towards them when we're not, man. Which is a damn lie. Hey, Tazapon, Shalom Yahba Shabakafar.
Shalom Yahba Shem Yahba Shabakata.
I'm not sure.
I can't hear you much.
I know.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, you should cook for that.
Tazapon, you there?
Yeah, but I can't hear you properly.
One sec, let me bring the mic closer. Can you hear me now?
No,
What you can't hear me? What's it like?
it's just low.
Low. Give me 1 second. What's it
I was
like
listening
now?
before and I could hear it louder before. Went down when you I think added me on the screen.
Someone online, give me a 1 if you can hear me clearly, just so I know the feed ain't messing up. I'm just gonna see if everyone else can hear online. Yeah, Tazanawa said they can hear me toward online. Tazapon, what about now?
Same.
Still low.
Yeah, come
on. Sorry, say that again. I think it might be on your end.
Might be the phone then.
Is the volume all the way up? So lucky.
Yeah,
that's probably the first thing. That's probably the first thing you would have checked. What is it coming? Can you hear me now?
La, same. Just continue. I'll just have to stay close.
No, sir. If I could, can you get me Exodus 5:1?
Exodus 5:1.
What? So yeah, man. Even at your job, you have to beg this man. Can you have a holiday? Imagine you're a grown man with kids. You got kids of your own. Imagine if your kids see how your boss speaks to you at work, man. And listen, man, these devils don't understand why a black man flips out on the job sometimes, man. Listen, man, I've seen a black man on the job throw his tools, man, and I understood it, man. I understood it. Like the captain said, when you're too nice, they give you extra work. Listen, I remember years ago, must have been about 16, 17, working in McDonald's. They used to say, the other person ain't turned up for their shift, so you have to stay over. Listen, man, one time I flipped out and walked off and they tried to suspend me. And then guess what? One of the bigger managers said, well, technically you can't keep him over because his shift did finish at 11 o'clock, which lets you know they just see you as a slave, man. They just see you as a slave, man. Give me Exodus 5:1.
Exodus chapter 5 verse 1. And afterwards Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, thus says the Lord God of Israel, let my people go.
This is our job. This is our job in the UPK, man. We be telling these oppressors they need to let black people go, man. We be on the front line telling these oppressors, listen, man, look how you're treating our people. Moses and Aaron did that in Egypt, and guess what? We're doing that right now, man. In the UK, in the States, in Trinidad, in Jamaica, in Puerto Rico, in Brazil. We're doing that all over, man, telling them let God's people go. Because you see, everybody outside of here, most people are what? Afraid and just want to get by in life. Most people just want to do what? Wake up in the morning, go to work, and not understand how oppressed they are. And the thing is, us as black people, we've been oppressed for so long that we've learned to live with oppression. We've been oppressed for so long that now oppression just feels normal now. It just feels normal. You know how living in the ghetto feels normal? That's how oppression is to us. We wear oppression now. It's just normal. It's just something we do every single day. Whereas once these other nations go through a little bit of what we go through, what happens? They kick the bucket, man. They get that rope. They get that rope and hang themselves from the bunk bed, man. You see them hanging from the bunk bed. Why? Because they lost their job. They hang from the bunk bed. Why? Because can't pay real take it come. The bailiffs come to their house. They hang themselves because of that. Meanwhile, Us black people are so strong, man. Everything that we go through, and we just deal with it. Listen, the bailiffs come to our house and take everything, man. And what do black people say? Even black people outside of the truth say, you know what? God will find a way. That's what we say, man. We live by that. God will find a way, which lets you know, man, how spiritual of a people we are. Like we are people that have literally nothing. We're people that have nothing, and we still believe in God, man. Whether ignorantly we believe in, whether we believe in the wrong God ignorantly, we still hold some belief in something. Meanwhile, our oppressor does what? His heart's fixed on materialistic stuff. Listen, there was some old man that committed suicide because of coronavirus. Listen, man. Us black people, listen, black people will have stage 4 cancer, man, and they still think they're going to survive, man.
That's right.
Black people have stage 4 cancer and they still say, yo, I'm praying for a miracle. Meanwhile, Esau does what? Turns over and kicks the bucket, man. And it shows who they are, man. This man gave up his birthright for one morsel of meat.
That's right.
Meaning this man commits suicide because he loses his job.
Right.
Us, we lose. You see, with us, we used to losing jobs, man. We used to losing jobs. We have so many jobs and lose so many jobs. Like, it's just normal to us. Go ahead.
Look at that. You mean I've lost quite a few jobs. I lost one where they rang me. They rang me saying that they had something they wanted to say. So I come into it. I see the man who's like, I'm sorry, we can't. I'm working no more. And I wasn't even fussed. Like, okay, but come back.
Exactly, man. That's how we take it. Whereas Esau does what? Gets ready to kill himself, man. Listen, I had the same, man. I started watching UPK tapes and I realized a man's supposed to keep his beard. They were saying, no, you have to shave your beard. I said, no, I'm not shaving my beard. They said, you have to. I said, these Muslims get to keep their beard. The manager was like, no, you have to shave your beard.
Right.
So then I said, all right, then I'm not coming back. I was young and I didn't know nothing about a tribunal where you could sue them and get money. I was about 18 at the time. This is when I worked in McDonald's. It was like, oh, you can't have a beard because hair will go on people's food. So I said, okay, these Asians got the hairiest arms ever. Ain't that hair gonna go on people's food? I was like, ain't the hair on their arms gonna go on people's food? The manager's like, it's their religion. It's not your religion. I said, listen, my religion is I need to keep my beard. So in the end, I ended up walking out of the job. Then the manager now did what? 3 months down the line, he phoned me and said, oh, come back for a meeting. I said, it's okay. I don't want to come back to the job. So I found something else. And then back then, everyone's like, why don't you just shave your beard and stay there? I said, nah, man. Right. I said, I'm not going to compromise. I'm not going to compromise to flip Big Macs. I said, listen, man. Keeping these laws is way more important than me making Big Macs, man. Keeping these laws is way more important than me making quarter pounders, man. Leaning out the McDonald's drive-through window, talking about enjoy your order and can I take your order? Nah, man. And listen, man, getting out of that place was the best thing ever. And at the time, leaving a job with no money, it seems bad, but sometimes in life you have to leave something for other things to fall in place, man. And guess what? We need to leave Great Britain, man, for better things to fall in place for us, man. When I say leave Great Britain, I'm talking about spiritually. We need to take our soul out of this place, man, for better things to fall in place. I mean, how else are we going to get our kingdom if we're still in love with this one? If we're still in love with this one, we ain't going to get our kingdom. Read on.
Khan, let my people go, that they may hold a feast unto me.
That they may what?
Hold a feast unto me.
Go ahead.
In the wilderness. And Pharaoh said, who is the Lord, that I should obey his voice?
Pharaoh said, who is the Lord? That's the same thing this devil says today, man. Listen, man. We be trying to go to the Passover talk. They're talking about, oh, they don't want to give us this visa. They don't want to give us that visa. Listen, man. They say the same thing today. Who is the Lord? Boris Johnson says the same thing today, man. Donald Trump says the same thing today. Who is the Lord? I'm going to tell you who the Lord is in short. The Lord is the person that's sending you coronavirus, man. That's who the Lord is, man. I mean, do I need to tell you who else he is? I mean, let's just start with the coronavirus. That's who the Lord is, man. The Lord is the one sending the coronavirus. The Lord is the one. The Lord is the one. Why? What? You're about to go into a recession, man. The Lord is the one. Why your country's falling, man. The Lord is the one. Why? What? All your shops is closed. You're scared to come out the house. The Lord is the one why what? Boris Johnson had coronavirus and was hiding away wherever he was hiding, man. That's who the Lord is, man. That's who the Lord is. I mean, I don't need to give you his name. I just say, the Lord is the one sending you to coronavirus. The Lord is the one who's what? Wiping out half the people that don't want to serve him right now, man. The Lord is what? One that's crumbling your empire right now, man.
That's right.
The Lord is the one that's crumbling your empire right now. The Lord is the one that's making sure you pay us for free while we sit at home, man. And guess what? They say, the taxpayers' money. Listen, man, they owe us this money anyway, man.
That's right.
They're making out like they're making out like they're going into their own pockets. Nah, man. The thing is this: you see all the money that we've been paying tax anyway. We're just getting back our own money. Just
right.
Say for instance, you've been working for like 10, 15 years. They take what? 21% tax.
20%.
Yeah, they take 20% tax. Listen, man, all that money that they're giving you back don't even add up to all the money that you've gave them.
That's right.
And also, the next thing, all these companies that you see, all these fines that we get for speeding, we were paying all these companies. This is what they do. This is how you know Esau's the devil, man. He tricks you. He says, the fines are £120, but if you pay it within 14 days, you pay £60. So you think that's a bargain, man? You think that's a bargain? That ain't no damn bargain. £60 is a whole lot of money, man. Talking about if you don't pay it within 14 days. The reason to say that is because they know that you could dispute it, but they don't want you to dispute it. They just want you to say, you know what, I'll pay the fine and get it over and done with.
Yeah, that's right.
That's all they do. And then they put you on these driving courses. I've been on a few, it's about £120.
Yeah.
Put you on these driving courses, £120, where you sit there and they tell you the importance of slowing down and not speeding and so forth. When the thing is, man, the reason you're speeding is because this devil's ready to sack you from your job, man. If you don't get to work on time, you're out of the job, man.
God.
You're out of it. I mean, what can you do, man? You in between a rock and a hard place. You either got to speed to get to work on time, or you're either going to get sacked from your job, and then they fine you, and then you go to court, and then they fine you some more, and all these companies taking all this money. Honestly, I could. You see all them fines that I paid. I could live off that money alone if they gave me it all back, man. I could live off it alone, man. All the time they want to give out fines for this and fines for that. Read on.
And Pharaoh said, "Who is the Lord that I should obey his voice to let Israel go? I know not this God." Salakia. I know not the Lord, neither will I let Israel go.
And listen, man, he said, what? I don't know the Lord, neither will I let Israel go. This is the same thing that these devils do to us right now, man. They don't care about the Lord, and they don't care to know him. Like, wanting to know him would be one thing. They don't care. Like, they don't care who you serve. Like your workplace telling you, you must shave your beard. You're trying to book the Lord's feast days off work. They're talking about, nah, that's the busiest day of the week. You must work.
Right.
One time they tried to, one time they expected me to come in on the Day of Atonement. Listen, that day, I don't even request it. I just call in sick, man. That day, I just call in sick. So imagine they want you to come and work that day, man. They want you to come and work all these days. Meanwhile, guess what? They give the Muslims Eid off without them disputing it, man.
Right.
A Muslim man, he gets Eid off. Listen, they make you work extra hours just so that Muslim can get a day off.
God.
Meanwhile, you want Day of Atonement off. You want the Feast of Hanukkah off. And they're telling you, we can't give you it off. Listen, they don't respect the Lord, and they don't respect this Bible, man.
That's right.
But what they do respect these Muslims. They respect these Muslims' beliefs, man. But what a black man believes, nobody respects it, man. Nobody respects a black man's belief. Well, guess what? Respect the coronavirus, man.
That's right.
You better respect the Lord sending coronavirus to teach you some respect, man. The Lord send you coronavirus to teach you some respect, man. You don't want to respect us, don't worry. The coronavirus will teach you some respect. You don't want to give us days off work, don't worry. Coronavirus, the Lord will send coronavirus so we get days off work. And these devils are so hard-headed, man. Talking about what they're going to open up the country June the 1st. And guess what's going to happen, man? How it's looking is they might just get a second wave, man. They might just get a second wave of coronavirus. They want to open up the country to protect their economy. Listen, man, your economy is falling, and it's only right that it's falling. And your economy was built on the back of black people, man. Your economy was built on the back of black and Hispanics, man. Your economy was built on the back of our ancestors.
That's
built up all these banks, built up the NHS, built up the railways, man, built up these warehouses, built up the factory. And then guess what? The things that we built up, we have to come to you for a crumb of it. We have to come to you and beg you for a job. We have to say, Master, can I please have a job because I got bills to pay? And you decide whether you're going to give us the job or not. Meanwhile, we built the whole thing, man. With our assistance, England would just be rubble, man. And did you know that what? These slave owners, these plantation owners, most of them didn't even ever step foot on the land of the Caribbean. What they did do is what? All they did is what? Got all the cotton and the resources sent back to the docks, to whether it was Liverpool or Bristol. They got it sent back to those docks. They was having so much goods delivered back that they had to expand the docks. You can go see the docks right now. You can go Liverpool right now, and you can see the docks. You can go Bristol right now, and you can see the docks. And then in Liverpool, they got what? A slavery museum. And who's in there taking all the pictures with their cameras? Esau, man. Esau's there with the fancy cameras taking all these pictures, man. Esau's taking all the pictures of his handiwork, man. That's what he's looking at, his handwork. They're going there like they're really interested. It's their handiwork they're taking pictures of. Go ahead.
I really wanted for whenever they see black people acting hard now, like listen, the time of the slavery stuff, is to remind them, like, listen, these people are
exactly, and that's how they look at you. They see you as a slave still. So when they see a black man doing certain things, they will shoot you, man. The police will shoot you because they see you as just a slave, man. Drop that. Give me a Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 14. They see us as just, a slave. They see you as a boy, not even a man. They just see you as a little boy. And this is why what? Your manager in your job treats you like a little boy, decides whether you can have a holiday or not, decides whether you can have the weekend off to go to Blackpool or not, decides whether you can have anything off. He decides your life, man. How are you going to tell me, a grown man, I can't have a holiday off? And then, this is why when black men lose their cool on the job, and really black men on the job know that this manager is just so skinny and scrawny that you could just choke him with one hand, man. Imagine a man you could choke with one hand, shouting at you, saying, get back to your station, boy. That's what he says, man. Get back to your station, boy. And you think your manager ain't racist. He's racist, man. I mean, everybody's racist subconsciously, whether they know it or not. We went over that in the lecture. When you first look at someone, you have a perception of them. Like the first thing a devil has a perception of you is when he sees you is, oh, he's a thief. Like, look at it like this. A devil would never leave his wallet out in front of you, man. He would never leave his phone on the table in front of you. Why? Right. Because they stereotype us and they see all black people as thieves. So, I mean, if they stereotype us, it's only right that we're going to stereotype them, man. That's right. Listen, man. Right. One of them murder one of us. I'm stereotyping them. They're all murderers, man. I'm a stereotype every last one of them because they do the exact same to us. People talking about, oh no, you can't just paint everybody with the same brush. Listen, man, they took us all as slaves, man. They didn't once say, you know what, don't worry, he's good, I'm not going to enslave him. Listen, man, whether you was good or bad, you were still picking cotton, man. You were still a slave. You were still looked at as less than a man. Your kids were still taken away and sold to other plantation owners. Your kids were still picking cotton. They didn't look and say, you know what, that's just a baby. We can't put them through that. Listen, man, they put your kids through that. So when we have our kingdom, guess what? There's going to be cotton there that needs to be picked, man. And I don't care how old, everybody's going on the cotton. Everybody that's a non-Israelite is going on that field, man. Cotton needs to be picked. I need a fresh t-shirt for tonight. I'm going to party with my brothers tonight, man. And I need a fresh cotton t-shirt, man. I need what? Some fresh leather shoes, man. And in the morning, all them coffee beans better be picked, man, because I want a fresh coffee, man. Right. All them sugar cane better be caught, man, and turned into sugar, granulated sugar, man, because I need sugar for my coffee, man. Because guess what? We had to pick Coffee, we had to pick coffee beans so what? This devil could have some coffee. We had to cut down sugar cane so he could have some sugar in his coffee, man. Listen, man. They stir that cup, man. You see why that? You see, everybody's watched the movie. Tazapon, you've watched the movie Get Out, right?
Can.
Have you seen the movie? You seen the movie? You see how the woman stirs the cup and it clinks like clink, clink, clink. Listen, man. That's how they were stirring their coffee one time, man, while sitting down with their toes curled on the sofa, man. Sitting down in their cotton vest, which our ancestors picked that cotton, man. Drinking coffee, our ancestors picked that coffee beans, man. Right. You want more sugar in your coffee? We had to pick cut more sugar cane, man. Right. The tables is gonna turn, man, when we get to sit down with our toes curled, man. When we get to sit down in a nice cotton t-shirt, where we get to sit down and drink a cup of coffee, man. A mug of coffee with 3 sugars in there, man, and some milk, man. The time's coming when we get to stir that cup like the movie Get Out, man. Where we make where we gonna make the cup make that clink, clink, clink sound, man. The days is coming, man. And guess what? Black and Hispanic people, we deserve that rest, man. The days coming when what? It's gonna be scorching hot outside, and we get to sit in front of the fan, man. We get to sit in front of the fan. Actually, I might just want to save some electric and say to them devils, you better fan me with a towel. I'm gonna say, stand there and fan me with this towel. I might just want to save some electric. Listen, man, we had to do all of that for them. And the Lord said, reward them double, man. That's what the Lord said. The Lord said, reward them double. What they done to us is going to be done to them, man. And guess what? If you're black and Hispanic and you don't want to do that to them, don't worry. I'll just take your portion. I don't mind having your portion, man. The more I have, the better. I'll take your portion. Read on.
Canada and Khan. Jeremiah 22, verse 14.
2 and 14. 2 and verse 14.
2:14. 2 verse 14.
Yeah, go ahead.
Salakia, 2 verse 14.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, 2 verse 14.
Oh, I've not got 1 sec. I thought it said 22, other one. 1 sec.
No, sir. And also, any questions online, type them in. Go ahead.
Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 14. Israel, Salakia, is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave?
Is he a homeborn slave, man? Listen, you see, with us, it's like we just like to serve everybody. It's like we just like to be everybody's servants. It's like we just like this life that we live in. But at what stage are we going to realize this ain't life that we live in, man? Listen, living here under these devils, it's not life, man. We believe this is life. You know why? Because this is all we've known. Like, just imagine. Like, imagine now, there's a lion that's just running around in the jungle while running around in the safari doing whatever it wants. This lion's free doing whatever it wants in its natural habitat. Now imagine this lion's got kids. So you take this lion and its kids and you pull it in the zoo. That lion's going to be depressed, man. Them kids is going to be depressed. Then that lion's going to have kids. Them kids is going to be depressed. Them older lions is going to die. Then the younger lion's going to have more kids. And then they're going to think it's just normal to be in a zoo, man. They're going to think it's just normal to be in a cage. Whereas that's how we've become. We've become like animals who believe it's just normal to be in a cage. Not realizing we're supposed to be free, man. We ain't supposed to be caged up like animals, man. But this is all we've known. And this is why when you look at our ancestors, they was crying, man. Singing songs about how they want to return to Zion, man. Singing all them songs. How they want to return to Zion, man. They was singing all of those songs. Meanwhile, now what? We in England now. We like them children who have been born here and we just think this is normal. So now we think this is life now. Now we think our oppression is normal now. I mean, we've seen our parents oppressed and we just thought, oh, that's just how you're supposed to be. Their oppression's passed on to us. We've seen them oppressed, so now we're oppressed thinking it's normal. We pass our oppression onto our kids because we think to be oppressed is normal. Meanwhile, these devils don't know anything about oppression, man. And this is why they kick the bucket at the side of anything. They go get the bucket, stand on it, put a rope by it around their neck and kick the bucket. And then their kids or someone finds them hanging. Why? Because they lost the job. Which lets you know, man, Esau's weak, man. And when the Bible says one people shall be stronger than another, It lets you know that we that stronger nation, man. Like, do you know
That's
how
right.
spiritually strong we are? No other nation could go through what we've gone through. No other
Right.
nation could go through what we go through on a daily basis and still be here. What we go through, and you can't even tell that we're going through anything. That's how strong we are, man. When the white man goes through something, what does he do? He self-harms. He cuts his veins. He cuts his veins and tries to kill himself. He tries to overdose on pills. He lets the whole world know he's depressed. Meanwhile, us, what do? Meanwhile, we're depressed. We just get up and go to work as normal. Go ahead.
I'm about to say that. Like some white people, if their relationships don't work, they can't come into work, and their valid excuse is me and the wife be filing for divorce. Like us and black people, a woman leaves us and we have to work the next day.
Yeah, exactly. With us, a woman leaves us. One time, someone's gonna say, "Oh, what happened to the woman?" Oh, me and her broke. The other black man says, "Oh, me and her broke up." That's it. Esau now does what? Goes on his knees and stalks her, waits outside her workplace. Listen, man, that's not a black man trait, man. He waits outside their workplace. He sends 1,000,000 roses. If anything, if that's what he does. He sends them all these roses, stalks them. These times the women don't want to be with him, man. With us, if a woman tells us she ain't interested, okay, that's cool, man. We leave it at that. Esau can't live, man. One woman leaves him, he can't live. Says to her, if you don't be with me, I'm going to kill myself. Listen, man. We ain't those people. Read on.
Khan. Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? The young lions roared upon him and yelled.
Man, we've become like homeborn slaves, man. Listen, we love this place too much, and this is why it's very important that we don't get attached to England, man. Because you know, if you do get attached to this place, you're just gonna have your heart broken, man. Because this place ain't gonna last, man. Why get attached to something that was never made for you? Why get attached to something that's gonna be destroyed? Give me Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 12.
Habakkuk.
Why get attached to something that's gonna be destroyed?
2 and 12.
Oh no! So I can say that again.
2 and 12.
Con 2 and 12.
Khan.
Yeah, why get attached to something that's gonna be destroyed, man? Like this place here ain't going to last, man. The Lord is going to destroy all these places and the people of these places. You're trying to save this place ain't gonna work, man. It can't be saved. No matter how much you love Great Britain is finished, man. Great Britain is finished, man. We built it and it's going down, along with America and everywhere else. Go ahead, that we built up.
Khan, another one, Khan. Habakkuk. Salakia. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 12. Woe to him that buildeth a town with bloodshed.
Says, woe to him that buildeth a town with bloodshed. Listen, man. Great Britain was built off bloodshed, man. It was built off what? The backs of slaves, man.
That's
I had
right.
the book, but I forgot to bring it. So lucky, I'm gonna bring it next week. But it lets you know what? That black people died building this place, man. Died all throughout the Caribbean, man. Died all over. Died picking cotton. What would happen is, you see back then, you think you could get a sick day? You think if you were sick, you could get a day off work? Nah, man. If you were sick, you were still sent out on the plantation, man. Whether you had the runs, you were still sent out to work. You still had to produce all this cotton. Now the what? On average, they wanted people to pick what? A bale of cotton a day, which is like a bale of cotton is 480 pounds. And a bale of cotton could make what? 1,400 t-shirts. It could make about 2,000 pairs of boxes or something. That's what one bale could do, make all of that. So imagine if you're picking that a day. Imagine how much t-shirts they made off the back of you picking cotton. Imagine how much boxes they made off the back of you picking cotton. Like you don't even know how much you contributed to everything, man. Everything that you did contributed to something. Like with Esau, he's very strategic, and the Africans are very dumb. Like what would happen is, The Africans would do what? The Africans would sell you for handkerchiefs. The Africans would sell you for brass pots. The Africans would sell you for musket guns and swords and bottles of brandy. That's what the Africans would sell you for. And then Esau would take you, the devil would take you and make all that money back off you, man. Make £1 million off of you, man. Make £1 million off of you. Like, he's strategic. He knows how to make money. You see, when it comes to making money, Esau knows how to make money, man. Like, Esau's one of them ones, he will bleed people dry, man. He will bleed the land dry, man. Esau makes all these chickens in the lab for KFC, man. He will bleed you dry, man. He knows how to make money. That's what he does. And then he has the cheek to what? Call you lazy, man. Call you lazy. Oh, and Salakia, if I could sidebar for a minute, some damn Hamite was arguing with me. You want to know what the Hamite said to me? You Jamaicans think you know everything. You Jamaicans talking about nothing. He sent me some nonsense saying, rice and peas originated in Ghana. I said, listen, you dummy, you know we was in Ghana before we came to the Caribbean. I said, rice and peas was there because what? We was in Ghana before we came to the Caribbean, man. This dumb Hamite said, rice and peas started with Ghanaians. And I said, listen, man, listen. I said, listen, you dummy. That's where we was, man. Before we came to the Caribbean, we fled into West Africa. That's why we was there, man. Trying to tell me rice and peas. And listen, another thing, man. I don't give a damn where rice and peas originated from. Who makes it the best, man? That's my thing, man. Right. Who makes it the best? Don't nobody make it better than us, man. And listen, our food's so good. Our food's so good that what? Every nation comes to our food shops. Every single nation comes to our food shops. Now, does every nation go get African cuisine? No, they don't, man. Is there even any African food shops?
I see them, but no one knows.
And them African food shops is empty, man. Only people that eat from African food shops is Africans, man. They got some fake thing called some fake dumplings. What's it called? Puff puff. Some fake dumplings, man. It's called puff puff. Listen, man. Africans love our food, and we hate their food. Which lets you know we cook better than them, we look better than them, we smell better than them, we are better than them, man.
God.
Don't ever let no African tell you, they're the original when it comes to this and that. We better than them in every single way, man.
That's right.
We better than them in every single way. This Hamite said, rice and listen, he sent me some article of Google. He sent me some thing off Google. He must have typed in on Google. Did rice and peas originate in Ghana? And he thought he had something. I said, listen, you dummy. I said, listen, you dummy. You do know people from the Caribbean was in Ghana before we came to the Caribbean, right? And then he goes, I didn't think about that. He goes, I didn't think about that. I said, yeah, that's your problem. You Africans don't think. I said, that's your problem. You Africans don't think. Read Habakkuk for me one more time.
Another one can. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 12. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establisheth a city
listen, man,
by iniquity.
Did you think God wasn't going to visit this place, man? Did you think God ain't going to visit these lands? Woe to those who build a city with blood, man. Did you think what? God's going to turn over a new leaf and say, you know what, forget it. You built the city with the blood of my people, but we can forget it now. The Lord don't work like that, man. The Lord deals with justice. Listen, Esau don't even work like that, man. You could commit a crime 100 years ago. This man was still, listen, this man gives people in America life 2 times. What is life 2 times, man?
8 years.
Exactly, he gives you double life, man. He gives you double life and triple life. That's what he gives you, man. He don't even deal with that. Read that for me one more time.
Another one can. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establisheth a city by iniquity.
And listen, man, they established these places with iniquity, man. Iniquity is what? Another word for sin, which is transgression of the law, man. This earth is built off of that, man. This earth is built off of sinning, man.
Right.
Our oppressor, he runs this earth is full of sin because of him. Meaning, you see, with his influence influences everybody else to sin. Him being the biggest, him committing every abomination under the sun. and promoting it on TV and making it seem normal. He influences everybody else to sin, whereas what? With our kingdom, you ain't going to be influenced by the TV. You ain't going to be influenced by Esau, none of that. Like now in this kingdom, they what? Promote that two men can be together. In our kingdom, that ain't going to be so, man. That ain't going to be promoted nowhere, man. That ain't going to be promoted nowhere, man. That's only allowed in this society. In this place, two men can be together, two women can be together, and it's just looked at as normal. Now, before it used to be frowned upon. Now,
Right.
It's not frowned upon no more. Now it's allowed. Guess what? In the I.S.U.P.K, it's going to be frowned upon for life, man. I don't care if your pastor allows it. In here, we don't allow it. Your pastor allows it, man. Your pastor tells you, you know what? Whatever feels good, do it. Your pastor tells you, God ain't made no man perfect. God ain't made no man perfect. Listen, man, that's what this country teaches you. God ain't made no man perfect. And what happens? You start to accept your flaws. You no longer feel bad for the evil that you do. You no longer feel guilty for the wickedness that you do. And before this truth, we all had that feeling of whatever you do, you didn't feel guilty when you do it. Because you're like, oh, it's the norm, everyone does it. Now, once you come into this truth, like listen, man, once you come into this truth, say for instance, you're young in the truth and you don't check the ingredients on something. Like, I remember one time I was young in the truth, man. I brought a pack of Haribos, man. I didn't read the label. I realized it had gelatin in there. Listen, man, I felt bad, man. I felt bad for days, man. Meanwhile, this society teaches you to just sin and don't feel bad. Meanwhile, when you break God's laws, you're supposed to feel distraught, man. Like the Bible says, have a broken spirit, man, and a contrite heart. That's what you're meant to have. You're meant to feel broken, man. You're meant to feel disgusting. Like, how could they do that? And then by you feeling so disgusting, it means you won't break those laws again, man. It means you won't do it again. But when you got people around you saying, nah, don't worry, man, we all do it. You're just going to break it every single week. You're going to break God's laws every single day of your life. That's what you're going to do. Read on.
Salaki, other one.
Go ahead.
Do you want me to read it again?
Actually, now drop that. Give me John chapter 18 and verse 33. Give me John 18 and verse 33. Also, if anyone's got any questions or wants to chime in, just, type it in and,
John chapter 3. Salakia, John chapter 18. Verse.
Yeah, go ahead.
Verse 3.
Now, 33, verse 33.
33.
Now, John 18 and verse 33.
Oh, can't. Verse 33. John chapter 18, verse 33. Then Pilate entered into the judgment hall again. And
now, this is when Yahushua, this was when Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, was about to what? Get crucified, man, for stuff that he didn't do, man. Go ahead.
So, then Pilate entered into the judgment hall again and called Jesus and said unto him, Art thou the King of the Jews?
Go ahead.
Jesus answered him, saying, Though this thing of thyself, or did others tell it thee of me?
So Christ said, all right, then, is this you saying this of yourself, or did others tell it to you? Read on.
Pilate answered, Am I a Pilate answered, Am I a Jew?
Now, Pilate was being
own nation.
Pilate was being sarcastic there, saying, Am I a Jew? As to say, it ain't my business. What do I care? Read on.
Am I a Jew? Thine own nation and the chief priests have delivered thee unto me. What hast thou done? Yahushua answered. Read on.
Yeah, read on verse 36.
Yahushua answered, My kingdom is not of this world.
Hold on, what did read that again? What did Christ say?
My kingdom is not of this world.
This is why we don't give a damn about Great Britain, man, because this ain't our
That's
kingdom,
right.
man. His kingdom ain't of this world, man. You see, this world ain't our kingdom, man. So let this world get the coronavirus. Let this world get the murder hornets. Let it get everything, man. Let it get every plague that God wants to give it, man. Because our kingdom
Right.
ain't of this world. Now, if you know anyone that's fighting to say, and this is why we don't join the military, you know why? Because our kingdom ain't of this world, man.
That's right.
That's why we don't join the military. This place means nothing to us, man. If this place burnt down tomorrow, I wouldn't give a damn, man. I would just step over the fire and keep going, man. I don't give a damn, man.
God.
I'll step through the rubble and keep going, man. I don't care, man. Why? Because our kingdom ain't of this world, man. Christ said our
Right.
kingdom ain't of this world. Read on.
Khan. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight.
Christ said, if his kingdom was of this world, then would his servants fight. Now, you have to look at who's fighting for this kingdom. They ain't the servants of Christ, man. If you're fighting for this kingdom, you ain't the servants of Christ, man.
That's
if you
right.
love Boris Johnson and all these people, you ain't the servants of Christ, man. Because Christ said, if this was my kingdom, then would my servants fight, man. If this was Christ's kingdom, we would be fighting, man. If this was
Right.
Christ's kingdom, guess what? If any nation come to drop bombs on it, we would be fighting, man. If this was Christ's kingdom. But because this ain't Christ's kingdom, I'll leave the door open for Osama bin Laden and everybody else to come in, man. Why?
Right.
Because this ain't our kingdom, man. Why am I fighting some white man's war for? This is his kingdom. Let him fight for it, man. I just need to sit back with a coffee and enjoy watching them fight. This ain't Christ's kingdom, man. Christ said, if this was his kingdom, then would his servants fight.
Right.
And black man, this ain't your fight because this ain't your kingdom. How is this your kingdom and your face ain't even up there as one of the rulers, man? Ain't no black face up there as one of the rulers, man. Your face ain't up there. What are we fighting for? Well, it is they just used you to do the physical side. And if you know anything about Esau, he's always said that what? Black people are strong, so he made you fight in World War I and World War II, made you all these promises. Oh, once we win this war, you can stay in the country and you'll be British. After the war, I got it in this book actually. Let me see if I can find it. I probably won't be able to find it, but I'm sure I highlighted it. Let me see if I can find it. But what happened is Esau being slick and being the devil that he is. One sec, let me see. Let me see if it's. Let me see. You know what? I had it in here somewhere. I hope I can find it. Give me 1 second. Nah, it's not that part. This. Hold on 1 second. Let me look at the index. 1 second. Let me pull up the index.
Yeah, I like it.
Give me a second. It's probably around. Yeah, give me 1 second.
Yeah, shall I just read this one more time while you look for that then?
Yeah, go ahead.
God, if my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight.
Listen, man. Christ said, if my kingdom was of this world, then would my servants fight. Meaning, you love Esau if you're fighting, man. This ain't Christ's kingdom.
Right.
Oh, yeah, let me read this part.
God.
Yeah, this is verse 50, page 51 in the Windrush. It says, well, when we first came over here, we were more or less welcomed because we were in the uniform of the king, meaning what? They was in the army, man. They had them that camouflage and them hats because they joined the army. So they was in the, that's what the uniform of the king is. It says, but when the war in Europe ended and the war in Japan ended, that's World War II. Yeah, World War II. So that's World War II. Once World War II ended, says, some of the other people tend to say to themselves, well, you come over here to help us to win a war. Now the war is over. Isn't it about time you go back? That's what they said, man. After they made them come and fight and bleed out on this field, man. After the war was over, they said, what? Don't you think it's time you go back? Now this, and let me read this part as well. It says, sort of attitude, because really and truly, this country doesn't like strangers and they don't like foreigners. Put it that way, it's a fact of life. I can say that because I've got 50 years experience of this country. This is a man with 50 years experience of this country. And in his 50 years, what he realized is the oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of, man. That's right. It took him, hopefully he realized it sooner than 50 years. But he said, I can speak because I've got 50 years experience. He had 50 years experience of the oppression he felt in this country, man. He came over here and fought in the army and they sent him back home. Let me read on. And they don't like foreigners, put it that way. It's a fact of life. I can say that because I've got 50 years experience of this country. This country don't like foreigners. Americans even worse. So when the war was over, they were saying to themselves, well, okay, lads, you've been over here now for 2 or 3 years. You won the war for us. Go back home now. That's what they said, man. They said, you've been over here 2 or 3 years. You've won the war for us. Go back home now. The same thing they said to them after they won the war is what? The same thing Boris Johnson and David Cameron saying to the Windrush generation, man. That's right. They're saying, go back home now. You've been over here for too long. Listen, man. Nothing changes with these devils, man. The same way they hated you hundreds of years ago, they still hate you now. The same way they hated you thousands of years ago, they still hate you now. You fighting for their kingdom, thinking that's going to make them love you. They're never ever going to love you, man. They're incapable of loving you. They're incapable of loving you, man. Like the animals, man. The animals, they don't have the brain capacity to love you. Meanwhile, you're loving them. They're gonna maul you to death, man. It's like loving a lion or a bear, man. It's like you being friendly with a bear, saying, "Oh, I've been with this bear for a few years now. One day that bear is going to maul you to death, man. This devil is like a bear that's going to maul you one day, man. The more you love him, the closer you are to him, man. The closer you are to him, which means what? The closer you are for him to murder you, man. We need to separate from them, man. Meaning that's what? Right. Let them live over there, and us live over there. Meaning what? We just go to work, get our money, and that's it. No need for you to invite them to your barbecues. No need for you pastors to invite them to your churches. None of that, man. These devils always asking us, so why can't we come in? Nah, you can't come here, man. We let you in here. Guess what's going to happen? These devils probably is going to try and open fire, man. They can't be trusted, man. Right. They can't be trusted. The only way you can trust them is by putting them in a cage, man. And even when we do have them in cages, I'm going to be paranoid. I'm going to wake up and make sure double padlocked it, man. This devil gets out the cage. Who knows what he might do, man? I have to put 10 padlocks on that cage, man. I'm going to have to handcuff him, tie him up, padlock the cage, man. Just to make sure me and my family are safe, man. Just to make sure we're safe from this devil. Let me read on. It says, okay, lads, you've been over here now for 2 or 3 years. You won the war for us. Go back home now. Isn't it about time you go back home? That was the message. It wasn't spelled out, but that's what it was. But we didn't feel like foreigners, far from it. They said we came over here voluntary. They said they came over here voluntary, man. They came over here to fight this white man's war, man. And after what? They won the war. They said to them, okay, it's time you go home now. Time you go home now. Read that part for me again. Then will my servants fight?
Another one can. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight.
If Christ's kingdom was of this world, then would the servants fight. If Christ's kingdom was of this world, then would I be upset? Then would I be upset about them 7/7 bombings and 9/11 and everything, man? But this ain't our kingdom, so he gives a damn. It's not our problem, man. Drop that. Give me a Matthew chapter 4 and verse 17. Get me? Because believe it or not, we get in our kingdom, man.
That's right.
And in ours is gonna come. And guess what? We're gonna run it, man. We're gonna run it under Christ, man, and the 144,000, man, which is just for us. I mean, every nation's had a chance to rule. Every nation's had the time to rule. Every nation's what? Had a kingdom. And guess what? While they had their kingdom, you didn't enjoy it. You didn't enjoy it. You hated every bit of it. So why must they enjoy your kingdom? Like what gives them the right to enjoy your kingdom when you haven't enjoyed theirs? So what? They don't share nothing with us, but we must share everything with them.
Right.
How is that fair, man? How is that fair? It's not fair, man. Read on.
Another one, Matthew chapter 4, verse 17. From that time, Yahweh began to preach and to say, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
That's what we need to do, man. Repent. Which means what? To change.
That's right.
To change from what? Being sinners, man.
Right.
Like Christians will say to you, oh, yeah, change, but they don't tell you how to change.
Okay.
Like change what? Like change your clothes, change what? Change your clothes, change your bed sheets, change your car. Like what? Change what? Your pastor doesn't tell you what needs to be changed. He don't tell you what you need to change. All he says is, oh, yeah, change. And then your pastor says, oh, such and such has changed since he's come to church. Yeah, man, he's changed into a homosexual now, man. That's what you're changing to. Honestly, I've seen men come off the road that was somewhat gangster, and then go to church and then come out with a bent wrist, man. Come out with a piano, man. Come out with a guitar, man. They went in there with a pistol and came out with a guitar, man. Went in there with an AK, man, and came out there with a tambourine, man. Listen, man, I'll keep the AK me, man. I'll keep the pistol, man. I ain't picking up no damn tambourine. At least with one of them, you can protect your family, man. How are you going to protect your family with a tambourine, man? How are you going to protect your family with a tambourine? That tambourine can't help you, man. Where it's got them little things on the side and the banging. And listen, man, that tambourine can't do nothing for you. Tambourine. Read that one more time for me.
Another one, From that time, Yahweh began to preach and to say, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
And our kingdom's at hand. So we need to repent, meaning we need to change our lifestyle. Because with our kingdom, what goes on in this kingdom can't go on in our kingdom.
Right.
Like the things you do in this kingdom, you couldn't do in our kingdom, which means if you don't repent and change, because the kingdoms of heaven's at hand, meaning what? You ain't going to get into it. So Christ was saying the kingdom of heaven's at hand, meaning what? We're close to getting it. So change, or if you don't change, you're not going to get it. Now, the slackness that goes on in this kingdom ain't going to go on in Christ's kingdom. All this nonsense that goes in here ain't going on. Give me Judges chapter 5 and verse 11.
Salakia.
Judges chapter 5 and verse 11.
Go on, Judges.
So the things you do here, you can't do in Christ's kingdom, man. None of the things you do here. So what do you need to do? Learn what's right, man. Learn how to serve God. Learn what you should be doing. Learn what you shouldn't be doing. That's what you're supposed to do. Like we you can't just think what you're doing in this white man's kingdom you're going to be doing in Christ's kingdom. It doesn't work like that. It's two different kingdoms, man. Two different kingdoms. One is going to be a righteous kingdom, and this one's unrighteous kingdom. This one, anything goes. Like in here, anything goes, man. This place right here, whatever you like to do, you're allowed to do it, man. In Christ's kingdom, there's none of that, man. There's laws. It's governed by laws. You're going to have priests and rulers and everything, man. Governments and everything, man. You see how Esau's got his MPs? Guess what? We're going to have our MPs, man. The difference is our MPs is going to be a lot smarter than Esau's MPs, man. The difference is what? Our leaders is a lot smarter than Boris Johnson's leaders, man.
That's right.
Our leaders is a lot smarter than Boris Johnson, David Cameron, Theresa May. Theresa May and them can't even make good decisions, man. They can't even make good decisions. Just look at this place, man. Read on.
Judges chapter 5, verse 11. They that are delivered from the noise of arches in the places of drawing waters. There
Listen,
shall they
go ahead.
rehearse. There shall they
Go ahead.
rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord.
And that's what you're supposed to be doing, man. Rehearsing righteous acts, man.
That's right.
At least show the Lord, man, why you deserve the kingdom, man. At least show the Lord why he should redeem us from this place. If you ain't rehearsing righteous acts, the Lord's just going to leave you here. Why is the Lord going to take you into his? Why is the Lord going to take you into his holy land here for you to just be a homosexual there?
Okay.
For you to just what? Be a whore there. For you to just what? Smoke weed there, smoke drugs there. Why is the Lord going to redeem you for you to be a drug addict there? It don't work like that, man. We ain't going to be redeemed if we're still being drug addicts. If we're still being criminals, rapists, murderers, child molesters, and all these things. If we're doing these things, we ain't going to be redeemed, man. You need to be rehearsing righteous acts. So when we do go in the land, you have somewhat idea of what we should be doing, man. You need to get up in here and learn to rehearse these acts, man. So when we're in the land, we know what we're doing, man. That's what you need to be doing, man. People saying, "Oh, the laws is done away with. We don't need to keep them." The Bible says, "Rehearse righteous acts in the land by drawing waters," man. Listen, man. We in them lands right now, man. We in them lands where we need to be rehearsing righteous acts.
Right.
That's what you should be doing, man. You shouldn't be saying, "Oh, you know what? I'm influenced by everybody around me, so I can't keep God's laws. I'm influenced by everybody around me, so I'm just gonna fold and do what I want." Nah, man. You need to rehearse righteous acts. Read that from the top.
Another one can. They that are delivered from the noise of arches in the places of drawing water, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord.
There shall they rehearse righteous acts. And this is why what? We building up the kingdom of heaven right now, man. By rehearsing righteous acts. Meaning the same, give me you know what? Give me Exodus chapter 18 and verse 25. Now, the same, you see the same way we set up in the I.S.U.P.K is the same way the kingdom's going to be set up, man. You see the same way how there's men in the U.P.K that give counsel. There's going to be men in our kingdom that give counsel, man. You see the same way where you get checked. You're going to be getting checked in the kingdom if you do the wrong thing, man. People think what? You're just going to go into the kingdom.
Go
ahead.
Exodus 18 what?
And verse 25.
God.
Now people think what? You're just going to go into the kingdom and you see all them sprinkles that everyone's putting on them sprinkle cakes. People think them sprinkles is going to come down from the sky and you're going to forget everything, man. People think you're just going to be in the kingdom and boom, all unrighteousness is removed. That's what people think.
Right.
People think you're going to be in the kingdom and a man's not going to be a man no more and a woman's not going to be a woman no more. I mean, Christians actually believe that what? You're not going to have sex in the kingdom. Listen, man, only a homosexual would be happy for that, man. Only a man that hates women would be happy for that, man.
Right.
Of course there is, man. But the difference is it's going to be lawful sex, man. That's the difference. The difference is what? You ain't gonna be picking up no $2 whores, man. The difference is what? There ain't gonna be no strip club on the corner, man. That's the difference. The difference is what? There ain't gonna be no strip club on the corner. We're going back to a close community where what? We're going back to a community where what? Where I'm a father, and all these other fathers, we're all gonna know each other, and our kids is gonna know each other. So if this brother's son marries my daughter, straight away his son knows he can't treat my daughter like garbage. You know why? Because our parents know each other, man. He knows what? He knows I can't hit his daughter. I can't hit this woman I'm with. You know why? Because he's gonna contact my dad, and my dad's gonna come down on me. He's gonna know he can't treat her like now. Obviously, nowadays in 2020. Men treat women like whores. Why? Because we ain't as close as we should be. We don't treat each other like brothers. We don't have brotherhood. Whereas if we did have brotherhood, we would all grow together and we would understand what? This woman's father's my brother, man. And guess what? I'm gonna have a daughter one day. I don't want no man to ill-treat my daughter. That's what we would understand. We would understand that, man. I would understand what? I love Tazapuan. So guess what? I'm gonna make sure my son don't treat his daughter like garbage, man. He's gonna make sure his son don't treat my daughter like garbage. But in 2020, where we hate each other, guess what? A man's treating your daughter like garbage, and you're about 40, 50 years old, thinking you can talk to these young boys. They're gonna knock you out. There's nothing else to lock you. Them young boys is gonna beat you up now, man. Whereas in our kingdom, we had respect for one another. In this kingdom, there's no respect to anything goes, man. Like now, a woman couldn't ever say to a man, "Oh, I'm calling my dad on you." He will laugh, man. Probably pull out his pistol on him, man. Whereas in our community, you can't treat her bad. You know why? Because it's a close community, and guess what? We had judges in the community who would judge righteously. Them judges would be at your door saying, "Huh, you gave such and such his daughter a black eye. Get out here now." Whereas in this kingdom, that's allowed, man. In this kingdom, you beating up your woman, they near enough allow it, man. Women attacking men, they near enough allow it. In our kingdom, that's not allowed, man. It ain't going to be allowed. Guess why? Because at the end of the day, that's your brother's sister, man. That's your brother's daughter, man. He's your brother. You claim to love him. How are you gonna beat up your brother's daughter, man? You don't love him. And this is why in the UPK, we love our wives, man, and our wives love us, and we don't put our hands on them, and they don't put our hands on us. Every so often we have to give them every so often we have to give them a check-in off the air, and so we have to give them a check-in where if it was in the air, all you would hear is bleep 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 bleep. But we don't raise our hands to them, man. We don't raise our hands to them because at the end of the day, that's our brother's daughter, man. Now we're gonna have daughters. We wouldn't want another brother to put his hands on our daughter, man. That's how we should look at life. That's how we should look at life. And then when we live like that, guess what? We ain't gonna harm one another. Read that.
Exodus chapter 18, verse 25. And Moses chose able men out of all Israel and made
Moses chose able men. And you see the men ruling your country right now, they're not able, man. Boris Johnson's not able, man. Matt Hancock's not able, man. Theresa May's not able. David Cameron's not able. They ain't able, man. Moses chose able men, man. Hey, Moses chose wise men. Now you see all your House of Parliament, they can't make no wise decision, man. They ain't made one wise decision. All my years of living, I ain't seen them make one wise decision. Them thinking they're gonna open up the country on June 1st ain't a wise decision. What they're gonna do, just get a second wave of coronavirus. Them saying that everyone has to social distance, but nursery kids still can go to nursery. So what happens if a nursery kid goes to nursery with corona, passes it on to other kids that come home to their parents, then pass it on to their parents? Like, it don't make no sense. Boris Johnson has to be the dumbest person in the world, man. Honestly, I didn't think I'd find anyone dumber than Boris Johnson, but Boris Johnson has to be the dumbest person ever. Go ahead.
Trump.
Them two are both as dumb as each other. I think the twins just both live in different countries, but they look the same and they behave the same. And them two lunatics leading these two countries, which is superpowers, lets you know what these countries is bound to go down the pan, man. That's right. These countries is going down the pan. Once you can put Boris Johnson in charge, this place is going down the pan. Read that for me.
That's right. Read on.
Yeah, go ahead.
And Moses chose able men out of all Israel and made them heads over the people, rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, people, rulers of 50s,
go ahead,
and rulers of tens.
Some men was ruling over 10 people, some men over 50s, some men over hundreds, some men over thousands. That's what Moses did, put men in charge. Same like in the I.S.U.P.K. Same like when we're in the kingdom, there's going to be the same thing, man. There's no such thing as, we're all equal. Nah, man. Once everyone's equal, guess what happens? Nobody has to listen to nobody. Whereas when someone's in charge, there's someone who calls the shots, man. Imagine if you and your dad was all equal. Nothing would get done, man. Your dad's in charge. Your dad will go tidy your room, turn off the PlayStation. If you're all equal and your dad says turn off the PlayStation, you just like, Who are you to tell me what to do? Nothing will get done, man.
Right.
There's ranking everything. There's ranking everything, man. Moses, and this is where what all these countries get their structure from. They get their court system and everything from the Bible. The thing is, they do what? They take parts of the Bible and then be unrighteous with it.
That's right.
The Bible says be a fair judge. They take the judging system, but they don't be a fair judge. Esau takes it and doesn't be a fair judge.
Right.
And honestly, man, you see when you go to court, when you listen, every time I watch these court things and I see there's a woman judge, I'm scared for the brother, man. Depending on how her man's treated there that morning, can be the difference whether you go free or whether you get 25 years, man. Depending if she hates men that morning, that's the difference between you getting 10 years and 25 years, man.
Right.
Based off her emotions, man, not based off what you done, not based off what took place, based off her emotions, man. Based off whether she feels right. Read on.
Another one, Khan. And they judge the people at all seasons. The hard causes they brought unto Moses.
And now they judge the people with all things that they could. Now there's going to be certain things, like when you come in the truth, now there's going to be certain situations you can deal with and certain ones that you can't. Now, there's certain situations where you have to take it to higher ranking men because you don't know what to do in that situation. The same thing happened in Moses' time. There's some people that couldn't deal with certain situations, the hardest situations they brought to Moses to deal with. Now, the smaller situations they dealt with. Read on.
Another one, Khan. But every small matter, they judge themselves.
Now, every small matter, they judge themselves. Now, same thing with court. Small matters, you go to where? The magistrate's court. Big matters, you go to the crown court. Now, magistrate's court is where what? Your maximum sentence is what? 2 years. And then the crown court is what? Anything over 2 years. So the crown court's the big one. Everyone knows where that one is. Magistrate's court, everyone knows where that one is also, right in the city center. And what they mainly do in the magistrate's court is they issue out fines, man. This is what they do. This is what they do with the fines. They tell you phone this number if you can't afford it and you can pay in installments. And then you phone the number and no one picks up the phone, man. Have you noticed no one picks up the phone? No one picks up the phone. Why? Because they want you to go back to court and get charged the bigger fine. They say, call this number to pick up installments. You mean to tell me the phone's been busy for the whole week? They say, oh, you got 7 days to contact them. You mean to tell me the phone's been busy for the whole week? And then they decide how much they're going to take out your wage, how much the fine is, and whatnot. Drop that. Give me Revelation 7:1. Now I'm going to show you the structure of our kingdom. Because our kingdom had a structure and it's going to have a structure. And this is why we need to rehearse righteous acts. I mean, people think, oh, we're just going to wake up one day and land in there. Nah, man, it's not that simple. I wish it was, but it's not that simple.
That's right.
If it was that simple, I'll be happy, but it's not. Let me know when you get there, Revelation 7:1.
Also, Revelation chapter 7, verse 1. And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth.
Holding the 4 winds, man, the 4 destructions, man. These angels is holding it, man. And guess what?
Right.
These angels is holding it. Why? Because they're following orders. And then they're waiting for the order to let loose this destruction, man. Soon as they get that order, they're going to let loose that destruction. That's why they're holding it back, because they haven't been given the order to destroy the place.
That's right.
They're holding it back, meaning as soon as they let go, this place is going to be destroyed. Even the angels follow orders. The only people who don't want to follow orders is us, like thinking we don't want to follow orders when we should. There's punishments for not following orders. Read on.
That the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree.
And the Lord said, hold it back. Well, the wind shouldn't blow on none of these things, our resources and so forth. Go ahead.
And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God.
He had the seal of the living God, man. Go ahead.
With a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea.
Go ahead.
Khan, saying, hurt not the earth, neither
Now,
the sea.
this angel was ranked over these 4 angels holding back the 4 winds. This angel was ranked over them, so he said, hurt not the earth, nor the sea. Go ahead.
Khan, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God
And he said,
in their forehead.
Don't do it until they've sealed the servants, man, in their forehead. Meaning these men in the truth, man, which have got the knowledge of God, which keep God's laws, man, sealed in their forehead. Now when it says sealed in their forehead, this right here, how come this one ain't talking about a physical mark then? People like to say, what is it, Revelations 13? People like to say Revelations 13 is talking about, a physical mark. Why ain't this one talking about a physical mark?
That's right.
Also, with Revelations 13 and all of the book of Revelations, it will let you know that it's like it's spiritual, man. Everything, it's not physical, man. You thinking the mark's physical, it shows how simple you are, man. It's not physical. You can read it, man. It's not physical. Now, you see, if you are going to say that, the mark of the beast is literal in Revelations, because when you go into the word mark, it says what? Etching. Listen, man, that means what? You also have to believe that there's a beast with 7 heads, man. You have to believe that you're going to see a dragon with 7 heads. You have to believe that, man. You have to believe that there's a dragon with 7 heads and it's got a mark on its head. You have to actually believe that as well. I mean, if the mark's physical, so is this. That's what it says, man. Also, when it says the mark of the beast, and you like to go into the word mark, why don't you go into the word beast? And the word beast, it would say something like what? Cattle, right? So listen, that means the mark would be cattle, right? That means it would be the mark. That means someone would chat you like a donkey or whatever on you if that was the case. If you want to be that simple, you can't just go into the word for one word and then not go into it for the rest of it. So you mean to tell me the word mark there's literal. The word beast it's not literal. So how do you pick and choose which is which? And this is why, man, you need to get up out of that Christian church and these fake Israelite groups, man. You need to get out of this Christian church and these fake Israelite groups, man. Read on.
Khan, till we have sealed the servants of God, servants of our God, in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them that were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes.
Yeah, of all the tribes of Israel. So you see this 144,000. Someone asked me, is this the amount of people, only the amount of people that's going to make it into the kingdom? No, it's not. This is the governing body. This is the government. You see like how you got your MPs. You see like how now you got your MPs. These people right here would be like your MPs, the government, the big men. That's what these people would be, the ones in charge. And then everybody else would just be like civilians. Jump down to verse 9. So verse 9 is where it's talking about the civilians and whatnot, the people that's in there that ain't part of the 144,000. But there's going to be plenty of Israelites that make it who ain't part of the 144,000. Same like what? The 650 MPs. Not every white man's an MP. But some of them are what? Doing good, living good under the MPs. It's going to be the same thing with our kingdom. Go ahead.
Verse 9.
Yeah, verse 9.
Khan. Verse 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations.
Meaning what? All these Israelites that make it into the kingdom, it's going to be a great multitude of all nations. And when it says all nations, it's talking about the same nations it was talking about in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, which was scattered. When it says you shall be scattered into all nations. Now here, it's saying all these people is coming back, man. When it says all nations, it's talking about Brazilians, Puerto Ricans, Trinidad, Jamaica, Mexico. That's the all nations, man.
That's right.
That's the all nations it's talking about. It ain't talking about what Chinese people coming in and then what the kingdom will be riddled with coronavirus. Then what? Let Chinese people in. We're gonna have a third wave of coronavirus in the kingdom, man. If you let Chinese people in, you let Africans in the kingdom. Guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna have a Ebola, man, and so forth. and have Ebola and everything else, man. Let Esau in. What? You're gonna be full of plagues and whatnot. He ain't talking about letting them in. They've had their kingdoms, man. This is the last. This is our last captivity. Read on.
That's right. Khan, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people
which no man
and
could
tongues.
number. So now it said which no man could number, which means what? You can't count the amount of Israelites who's going to be in the kingdom because no man could number them. So anyone telling you only 144,000 is going to make it is a lie. It said here which no man could number, meaning there's going to be so much of us. Read on.
Khan stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands.
And listen, that's what it's going to be like, man. We're going to have the governing body and they're going to be in charge. Like what? They're going to decide if China's going to get rain today, man. They're going to decide if what? Africans is going to get rice today, man. They're going to decide if what? If these other nations is allowed outside their house, if they're allowed to do this, if they're allowed to do that, if they're allowed to get a break, they're going to decide, man. You see how Esau decides his bank holidays. These governing bodies going to decide, you know what? We're having a day off this day for this. We're having a day off this day for that. They're going to decide. So that's what they're going to be doing. And then the rest of us is going to what? Whatever the 144,000 decide under Christ, we're going to do it, man. We're going to follow it and do it. There's not going to be none of this, I don't like the leadership. There's not going to be none of this, I don't like the leadership. I think we need new leadership. There's going to be none of this, there's going to be none of this, Yahushua is too strict to think we should vote for a new prime minister. Nah, there's going to be none of that, man.
Right.
There's going to be none of that, man. That only happens here, where you change prime minister every week, where every week you get a new one, where these like step down every week and a new one's up there every week. David Cameron did what? Left the EU, then resigned. David Cameron left the EU, then resigned. Theresa May came in. She couldn't fix nothing, then she stepped down and resigned. Then now Boris Johnson's coming to finish the whole thing off, man. Boris Johnson's come to finish ruining it, man. They put the dumbest one last. Even they realized there's no hope for Great Britain. And they finally gave Boris Johnson a chance at ruling the country, man. Giving Boris Johnson a chance at ruling the country is like giving a child a chance at ruling the country. Drop that. Give me Leviticus chapter. Actually, give me. Hold on, which one do I want? Give me Leviticus 18, chapter 24 and verse 30. No, 28. Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 24. Actually, for time's sake, just give me Deuteronomy 23 and 17. I'm going to have to skip over a few precepts, but basically, while we was in the wilderness doing what? Rehearsing and learning. You know why we was learning? Because one day we was going to go into our own land and have a kingdom. So we had to stay there and learn, man. And because we messed up, we had to stay there a lot longer for 40 years, man. Because we murmured and moaned. We had to stay there for years, man, 40 years. Whereas this right here, where we are right now, we should be learning. So when we do go into our land and the kingdom, we know what we're doing, man. We know there's an order. Like you don't want to be like those people who's last minute. You want to know what you're doing, man. You want to know, you know what? This is our feast days. This is what I can do. This is what I can't do. Rehearse from now, man. Rehearse. That's what you're supposed to do, man.
That's right.
Now, this kingdom here, you don't need to rehearse anything because you can do whatever you want in Esau's kingdom. Anything goes. Give me Deuteronomy 23 and 17.
Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 17. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel.
And in our kingdom, guess what? There's not going to be Tory Lane's quarantine twerk show, man. There's going to be no Swerm's twerk show. In our kingdom, there's going to be no what? Twerking on the internet. There's going to be no
That's right.
OnlyFans. You heard these women talking about OnlyFans, where men pay a certain amount of money to receive naked pictures. How desperate can you be to pay for pictures, man? Like, how desperate do you have to be? Like, how sick and disgusting do you have to be, man? Imagine this. That picture that you're paying for ain't even exclusive to you. That picture you're paying for ain't even exclusive to you. Everybody else that's paying gets the same picture. That woman's hustled you, man. She's played you, man. Guess what? If you want to make it to our kingdom, you can't be a whore.
Right.
Ain't going to be no OnlyFans in our kingdom. Because why? There's going to be judges that carry out punishments. There's going to be no quarantine twerk show on Instagram. You got 400,000 people seeing you naked all on the internet. There's going to be no you posing in bikini pictures all naked with you behind all out. Honestly, if that's what you want to do, this is the place for you to do it. Great Britain is the place for you to do it. But the time's coming when what? You ain't going to be allowed to do that, man.
That's right.
Talking about, it's my body. Listen, the time's coming when what? You ain't allowed to show all of that off, man. The time's coming when what? Righteous UPK sisters is going to be everywhere, man. That's what you're going to see. Modest sisters, not naked all over for the internet to see. I mean, how do you be a woman's man? I mean, how do you have a partner that's always naked, man? For everybody to, not just you to see, for everybody to see. How can you be happy with your woman being a stripper? Talking about, I'm doing it to pay the bills. Listen, man. You can work a normal job to pay the bills, man.
Right.
You don't need to pay the bills, man. You don't need to have you behind all out to pay the bills. I'm doing it to pay the bills. The truth is, you're doing it because you want to be a whore and you want male attention, man.
That's right.
And listen, man. Why can't you do McDonald's to pay the bills? McDonald's pays the bills as well, right? No, you want to shake you behind. Why? Because you want Louis Vuitton shoes. You want a Louis Vuitton G-string. If that's even what they call them nowadays, that was the old name for them. I don't even know if they got a new name for them. That's what they used to call them. Because what? You want Louis Vuitton handbags. So you want to what? Be butt naked so you can afford a nice jacket, a nice pair of shoes. And then the thing is this. These whores actually think they're special when they're not, man. Righteous UPK sisters is special, man.
Right.
I mean, there's whores everywhere. How are you special when there's a million people just like you? You don't stand out. You're the same as everybody else. You're not special.
Right.
But obviously, what happens is because men pay for them pictures. Men pay a tenner for them pictures. They feel like they're special now. Men pay for OnlyFans. Men pay for your pornographic videos, so now they feel like they're special. You're not special, man. Someone special is what? Special is what when you're the minority, man. That's what special is.
That's right.
I mean, when you buy something, if you had a car and you was the only one with it, your car stands out. Why? Because your car is one of a kind. Now, these women that are whores, they're just like, they're just like a Nissan Micra, man. They're everywhere. They're just like Nissan Micras. They're everywhere. You can find one on every corner because they're cheap and easy to run and no one cares about them. That's like these whores. They're like Nissan Micras, man. They're easy to find, but they think they're special when they're not. Being special means you're the minority, man. Now, if you're a whore, everybody's just like you. You know different to. Listen, you know different to what? A woman in town right now. You know different to a woman. You know different to a woman all over the world, man. You're the same. You're no different to any woman that works in the strip club or who has sex with men for free or who has sex with men for money. You're all the same. Whereas someone special, a sister who's special is what? Someone that doesn't open their legs to every man. Someone who a man can't get. Someone who any man can't get. To where some men see these sisters and some men know what? You know what? Some men see these righteous sisters and be like, she's not a whore. I'm not even going to try my luck. Some men know that these couldn't even get these sisters, so they wouldn't even try. Whereas you're easy. Whereas a man knows he can't afford a Porsche, so he doesn't go to a Porsche showroom, man, because he knows he can't afford it. Whereas with these whores, everyone can afford a Yaris and a Nissan Micra, an easy get around. So he goes, yeah, I got £300. Let me go get a run around. Whereas a Porsche, he knows he can't get no run around Porsche. The sisters in here is like a Porsche, man. Not everyone can get them, man. Not everyone can get them. Whereas these whores is like, a Nissan Micra, a Nissan Yaris. Read on.
A smash and dash are the ones like you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they do. Men just go there, give them their money, and forget that they ever existed. And then guess what happens? Once that demon leaves them, man. Once that demon leaves them, and and they're not sexually frustrated, they feel bad, man. Believe it or not, they feel bad. Like, oh my God, I just went to a prostitute. Then when that demon comes back, guess what? They go spend another £40, £50, however much it is. They go spend another £40 and £50. Then when that demon goes, they feel bad again. Really, they know what they're doing is wrong. And you know how you know when you're doing something wrong? Because after you do it, you have that feeling of guilt, man. That's once that demon's left you. That demon will make you do wrong. Then that demon will leave you. Then you have that guilt, man. You have that guilt. That's what happened. That's how you know there's a demon messing with you, man, or a demon on you, or you doing something wrong. Read on.
There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel.
Listen, man, in the kingdom of heaven, man, you ain't gonna be watching no RuPaul, man. There ain't gonna be no Shabbat there. There ain't gonna be no RuPaul. There ain't gonna be no Mavado's brother if what Vibes Cartel saying is true. I don't know if it's true, but whatever. if whatever Vibes Cartel saying is true, there's gonna be no Mavado's brother and so forth, man. The Lord ain't allowing that into the kingdom. So this is why we say you need to repent, man. You need to repent and change, man. Because if you don't change, you ain't gonna make that kingdom, man. Give me Daniel chapter 2 and verse 44.
Daniel 2:44.
Yeah, 2:44.
Daniel chapter 2 verse 44. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed.
Listen, man, our kingdom ain't never going to be destroyed, man. Never, ever, ever, man. The Lord's going to set that up. All these other nations' kingdoms gets destroyed, but our kingdom is never going to be destroyed. Read on.
And the kingdom shall not be left to other people.
And the what?
And the kingdom shall not be left to other people.
Our kingdom ain't going to be left to other people. You know why? Because these kingdoms which is left to other people, you see, people like Boris Johnson end up running it, man. These prime ministers. Wickedness is running rampant here, man.
That's right.
Our kingdom ain't going to be left to other people. We're going to run it. Christ and the 144,000 is going to rule it and run it, man. Our kingdom ain't going to be left to other people, man. Our kingdom ain't going to be left to other people. We're going to run this kingdom, man. And with that, I'm going to do the Lord's, that brings us to the end of the class. I'm going to finish it off next week. Go ahead.
Let me just finish that up, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms.
Listen,
and
man, it's going to break in pieces and consume these other kingdoms, man. Guess what? When Christ returns, he's taking dominion, man. He's taking these crowns of every nation's head, meaning what? He's taking their rulership. When Christ comes, ain't gonna be no Arab Emirates running things.
Right.
Ain't gonna be no this Dubai building, America, this and that. Christ is taking down all these kingdoms, man. He's taking down every last one of them. And it's only right, man. It's only right, man. Their kingdom deserves to be taken down, man. You know why? Because what did they do? They killed the very own people that built up their kingdom. That's right. They destroyed the people that built their kingdom, man. Meanwhile, they should be begging us for forgiveness, man. We begging them for a job. Meanwhile, they should be begging us to forgive them, man. They should be apologizing to us, kissing our boots, telling us how sorry they are, man. They should be turning over all their money, man. Saying, oh, we know it doesn't make it 1% better, but here's everything that we've got to offer. One day they're going to realize how royalty we are. Right about now, they just see us as, oh, yeah, these is just niggas. Right about now, they just say, oh, these is just niggas that's good for nothing. They just smoke weed and get high and shoot and kill one another. The day is coming when they're going to realize that we're royalty, man. Every man that's ever put his hand on a black or Hispanic man or woman, he's going to realize he should have never made that mistake, man. He's going to realize he should have never done it. Read on that anymore on that.
But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever.
And it shall what?
And it shall stand forever.
Our kingdom is going to stand forever. Our kingdom ain't going to be like what? The Persians and the Medes and whatnot. Those kingdoms that had a short reign. You know them kingdoms that had a short reign. Ours ain't going to be like that, man. Listen, they had a short reign and fought the running things, man. They had a short reign and started to get proud and thinking they're better than everybody else. Listen, our kingdom ain't going to have a short reign. Our kingdom is going to rule forever. Our kingdom is going to rule for so long that these other nations is going to forget that they ever had a reign, man. They're going to forget that they ever had a reign, man. And with that, is there anyone that touches upon?
La.
And with that, we're going to do the Lord's Prayer. I'm going to finish it off next week because I only got halfway through, so I'll do the other half next week.
All right, Sean, that was a powerful class. You have to say, don't go over hands. All right, the announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K. started at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under command of GEN.YAHANNA. Rules for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which brother and sister will court each other. After the 6 months, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8-10, means tenth in the herd. Hebrew, Ma'ashra, 10% of any increase the Lord give to the Treasury Department. Priest fund, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocations to be announced. All occupant aqua, check the bulletin board in the hallway, and also check all I.S.U.P.K social media. And if anyone wants to become a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black boots, shirts, pants, headbands, and scarves, and with that I.M.A.D.I.U.M, and we're going to rise and face the east, and the Lord's Prayer, Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwavka, Daba'a, Ratazayaka, Haya, Aisha, Ba'aratazar, Kawor, Haya, Bashamayim, Nathulanawa, Lakam, Cow, Yawam, Wasalaknawa, Kabawafnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kabawafinawa, Wala'a, Kabayainawa, Walasayawan, Abod, Kabashanawa, Mayan, Rai, Taya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha'ala, Wahafapara, Na'aiwalamim, Aman.
In the English, our Father, art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our debts. As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation. But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. And the power. And the glory forever. So be.
And with that, we're going to give the teacher one courtesy salute, men of Israel, and Madam Shabbat, and Madam Barak, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Barakafam,
Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Barakafam,
Yan Devatah, class dismissed.